It's night. The sky's innocent baby blue is now a godless black. You don't want to be here. The friendliness of these streets died at sunset, and now you must walk alone. The regular dose of fear slides down your throat once you realize that you have company. Footsteps. The sound of footsteps come from behind you. You're certain no one was there earlier. They must have come out from one of the alleyways. Only after 10 minutes or so till you reach your bus. You know that you're afraid, but are certainly aware of your own curiosity. The sound of these footsteps are still with you. They're the only thing keeping you company at the moment. You are with the company of the unknown. You know it shouldn't scare you, but it does. There's a person behind you who's been watching you walk for a good few minutes. You've not had a single glance at them. Your fear and curiosity battle with one another. The footsteps almost turn to silence, but the sound of your own voice fighting with itself inside your head. You want to look, but you're scared. What's behind you? Is it following you? Will you look foolish or mean-spirited to take a glance behind? You stop to tie your already tied shoelace. You pretend to fumble around for a few seconds, and then glance behind before getting back up. It's a man. A very fat, bald man wearing a leather jacket that looks a little tight. You don't get a great description from the short glance, but enough to feel oddly calm. His appearance, though not the most ordinary, did not seem to have anything nasty about it. This was just a regular person, maybe on his way to a bus stop just like you. One thing that did stand out from your brief glance was that he was wearing a pair of sunglasses. The only light the street had were the streetlights, dotted around each side of the street. You try to shrug it off as a fashionable thing, though your mind starts to question the flaws of this excuse. The sound of his footsteps grow louder and more frequent. He's speeding up. You try to walk at the same pace of his footsteps to ensure that he doesn't catch up. You keep reminding yourself that it's not a very long walk till you reach the bus stop. Maybe someone else will be there. You keep questioning what this man's evil plan may be until you feel guilty for making such assumptions of him. He's just an ordinary person, your mind repeats. You start to notice a panting sound. He must be growing tired. His physique doesn't look the most athletic, you remind yourself. Your guilt grows along with the reassurance of the man's innocence. His panting grows into coughing. It's a loud cough. That sounds like that of a full-time smoker, but it certainly doesn't seem non-human. You feel ridiculous for even thinking that phrase, non-human, as scared as you previously were. You were well aware of his human body. You were expecting an animal's sound to come from his mouth. These feelings of guilt and embarrassment make you want to turn around, face him, apologize, even though he won't even have a clue what you're talking about. It feels oddly like the right thing to do, yet you know it's obscure to confront a person with such unnecessary confessions. So, you refrain from doing so. He starts to sputter. His footsteps sound more like stumbling. This is your chance. You decide to turn around to see if he's okay. If not, you can help him. You turn around, full confidence, when your eyes meet the face of the man. His lips covered in a dark saliva as his mouth opens. His mouth is unlike any of which you've ever seen. He seems to have a row of jumbled up teeth inside, and his mouth keeps opening. It keeps opening until it starts to look more like an action of a machine than a human. His jaw opens like that of a snake. His mouth has severed as a distraction. And you have not noticed the changes in his body. His jacket is opening up, and you notice bone-like joints severing as a structure to the jacket. This is no item of clothing. It's his own skin. The bones twisting along with his spine as his body opens up, as you can see his rib cage doing the same. His bones grow as they open outwards. You see something move from inside of him. You run! The creature behind you follows. As you try to run against the wind that's blowing in your face, you notice the sound of bones clicking. You don't look back to see the latest, updated form of the creature. Not only would this slow you down, but you don't wish to know anymore. You clench your teeth as the wind tries to blow you back in his direction, just around the corner. That'll be your bus stop. You tell yourself that the bus will be there. You'll be able to jump in and ride away to safety. You hear the creature behind you, and you take a big gulp as you go around the corner. The bus is there, ahead of time. You can easily get in and order them to speed off in the opposite direction of that thing. With a smile of relief on your face, you run to the door of the bus. The door's closed. And as you're banging on it, screaming for it to open, you notice that the driver is the only one on board. You have his attention, but notice his face barely reacts to your fear. Almost as if this nightmare is a daily occurrence. You turn to the creature to point it out to the driver. He must not have noticed it. He must think that you're drunk. As you face the creature, you notice that its fat body was actually made up of a dozen of bony arms inside of its chest. It's using them like a spider uses its legs. What looked like the face of a man has been folded backwards, exposing the very spider-like body of this creature. You quickly turn back to the driver. He has to let you in now. He has to let you in. The last thing that you see is his unsympathetic face shaking at you. Was there a feeding last night? Yeah. Should keep him well fed for a week or so. The two men sat on the bench in the busy city street full of people enjoying the day's sunlight. Both men wore shirts with a badge on the side. A bus driver's uniform. Was it a messy one? No. Nothing much left to clear up. Station's already found a criminal to pair up with the deaths. The pair sat there, watching over the street, occasionally glancing down an alleyway. Down that alleyway. They could just barely make out a fat, bald face, sunglasses. They watched people walk by, waiting for sunset.